Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and I'm going to be revisiting Chaosium. Now, I checked them out about a week or so ago when I checked out a track called Smile Again, and it seemed to be a very polarising track. I thought it was a very, very good track. I thought it sounded great. I thought the performance was brilliant, and I did liken them very much to Korn. Now, having looked through and read all of the comments on that video, some people thought it sounded brilliant. Some people were really, enthusiastic about it. Some people said, it's such a good track, such a great band. Others thought they were horrendously cringy and thought, that they were a terrible band because they were copying Korn, and there was nothing interesting about them. I saw some other reactors videos on them, and to be frank, some of them were incredibly brutal. One of them even refused to finish listening to the track. He only got about a third of the way through before he stopped watching the video, saying that Korn should sue them because they stole their sound, which is something I really don't agree with. I mean, if you consider how many bands sound like other bands, should Ronnie James Dio sue every roughly 80s, 90s metal band around simply because they all sound the same? But anyway, so people got really sort of stuck in one camp or the other. They either really loved it or they really hated it. It was a very polarizing song. Now, in my comments, a lot of people said that that was the only track on their album that really, really sounded like Korn. And a most common track that came suggested to me was a track called Stick Under My Skin. So that's the track I'm going to look at today, because I'm curious to see how different this track is from Smile Again, because I was told that the rest of the album sounds completely different to Smile Again, that the whole album doesn't sound like Korn. It's just that one track that has a very strong Korn vibe to it. So, this was the track that got suggested to me the most. There were a couple of others, which I might get to eventually. And I did say I wanted to investigate more of this band's music because, it's interesting to get a wider idea of what they're like. So, yes, we're going to be looking at Stick Under My Skin. I have lyrics here, which should be accurate. I found them all over the place, and they all seem to be pretty much identical. There was a couple of fan-submitted ones which had slightly different interpretations. But, yeah, so we'll jump into this track and see how different this is from Smile Again. So I'm quite intrigued by this. So, Stick Under My Skin by Chaosium. Let's have a look. Interesting. Now, I will say that that doesn't sound as much like Korn as Smile Again does. However, you can still hear the influence of Korn in the song. The background music to that track is, I will say, completely un-Korn-like. But still the vocalist, again, I think his name's CK Smile, I think. His voice still sounds very much like Jonathan Davis. In fact, whilst listening to that track, it reminded me a lot of the What It Is track, Jonathan Davis solo track, What It Is, because it is what it is, you don't know how to live with what it is, which is a track that I really love. And this kind of reminded me a lot of that track, because there is still a very strong Jonathan Davis vibe to the sound of his voice. You know, if I wasn't told who this band was and I heard that song without a video, I would probably say, is that Jonathan Davis? Because it sounds quite a lot like him. There are differences in his vocal style compared to Jonathan Davis, but it still sounds quite a bit like him. Not identical, but there are very strong similarities in the way that they sing. But that being said, musically, it doesn't sound as much like Korn as Smile Again did. But again, I liked Smile Again. I thought it was a great track. I really, really enjoyed it. And I really enjoy this track. I think this is great. I think this band are good. I don't know why people got so wound up about it. You know, there are lots of bands that share similar sounds. You know, like I said before, you know, early metal bands like Dio and Black Sabbath and, you know, all these other sort of hair metal bands and the like, you know, when those bands came out, there were so many bands that sounded similar, and people still say, you know, these bands are iconic and legendary, and, you know, they didn't get so wound up that they sounded similar. I mean, you look at when Black Sabbath did the Headless Cross album. Now, I can't for the life of me remember who was singer at the time, but Black Sabbath at that point in time didn't sound like traditional Black Sabbath. They sounded like other metal bands. At one point, Black Sabbath were fronted by Ronnie James Dio, and, you know, the band sort of sounded a lot like Dio at the time. You know, all these bands at that period in time had a very similar sound. They all sounded quite a lot like each other. So why people got so upset that this band sounded a fair bit like Korn, I don't know why. I don't know why people got so angry about it. I don't see anything wrong with it. You know, you listen to Cradle of Filth. You know, there are bands like Sonic. They sound a lot like Cradle of Filth. Obviously, there are slight differences in the music. You know, they use slightly different instrumentation. You know, they use traditional Tony's fiddles instead of the violins that Cradle of Filth would use. But, you know, put them side by side, they sound very, very similar. You know, a lot of black metal sounds the same. So, again, why people got so upset with why Chaosium sounded so much like Korn, I don't know. But it is what it is. That was actually... I didn't actually mean to make that joke, but there we go. But this song, I really like it. And the song itself sort of sounds like almost a sort of, maybe a sort of forbidden kind of love, maybe an obsessive kind of love. And if you look at the video, it looks like he's keeping someone prisoner in his basement. And at the very end, it looks like the person... throughout the video, you know, he's torturing this person throughout the video that's trapped in his basement. But at the very end of the video, it looks like it could well be a younger version of himself. I don't know. But it goes. Sorry, but you have to stay. I feel so alone. I feel my brain change again, burning on my own. You're not the reason for my hate. You're my safe home. I just need a new taste. Don't leave me alone. So there's a line in there which maybe hints towards, an obsession to that. It's like, you're not the reason for my hate. You're my safe home. Sort of like, you're the one that sort of keeps me sane. You make me feel safe. You might not know it, but you make me feel stable. You're the one who sort of calms me. You sort of, you make me feel safe. You make me feel okay. And if you're gone, I'm gonna go completely batcrap crazy. Pain was cut off by my brain. I can't feel my bones. My blood is falling like rain. Hell has no way out. I can't feel my bones. What a strange line that is. I mean, can anybody really feel their bones? I mean, if you squeeze your finger, then sure, you can feel your bones. But as a general thing, can you feel your bones? It's like that question, can you taste your tongue? We'll never know. Anyway. Then it goes into the chorus. Feel on my lips a familiar taste of love, awakened by kiss. If love could be above. Night will haunt me, my past will come again. Demons will drown me and stick under my skin. Stick under my skin. My love for you is real. If you knew how I feel it, I will do anything to protect you. I want to be the one who can kill you. And then it repeats, I want to be the one that can kill you, or the one who can kill you. It repeats that 4 more times. So it's that line there, or those couple of lines there. I will do anything to protect you. I want to be the one who can kill you. That sort of maybe suggests an obsession with someone. It's like these celebrities who are so not celebrities. These people that are so in love with celebrities that they become so obsessed with them, kind of like that guy that was obsessed with Jodie Foster, and went out and I believe he murdered someone. I can't remember exactly. It was a long time ago. But these people that get so obsessed with celebrities, they love someone to the point of obsession that they want to be. They feel like they're the only person who should be in that person's life, and if they can't have that person, if that one person that makes them insanely happy, like the earlier line, you're my safe home, if they can't have that person, the person that makes them feel happy and safe, then, they're going to do atrocious and violent things. So, that's what makes me think that the song is about a obsessive, forbidden sort of love or relationship. And then it repeats the chorus again after that 3 times. Feel on my lips a familiar taste of love, awakened by kiss. If love could be above. Night will haunt me, my past will come again. Demons will drown me and stick under my skin. And that gets repeated 2 more times. And then the last line of the song says, sorry, but you have to stay. So again, that's like illustrating this person's need for this other person. But like I said, I really like it. I think it's a great song. I think the band are great. I don't know why people are so upset by them, just because they have a similar sound to another band. I don't get why people are so angry about it. And people are right. This doesn't sound as much like Korn as Smile Again, but there is still that definite. There's a definite hint and influence in there, especially in the vocal performance, and I'm not going to take anything away from, again, I think his name's CK Smile. I'm not going to take anything away from him because he's got a good voice and he performs well. And like I said, there are things about the way he sings. Even in Smile Again, he did do some things very differently. That sort of separated him away from Jonathan Davis. He's got a great voice. He performs well. I think they're a very, very good band. I did say for the longest time, I think Jonathan Davis has possibly the most unique voice in the alternative music scene. Because I've never heard anybody like him, and this has gone to prove me wrong. But there will always be bands that sound a lot like other bands that have been inspired by other bands. That will always happen. And if you don't like it, that's fair enough. But when it gets to the point that you're so offended that you start aggressively insulting people, that goes a bit too far. If you don't like it, don't listen to it. It's quite simple. But I really like it. I think this band are great, and I'm going to actually go and buy their album because, I want to listen to some more of it. Because I like it. I think it sounds great. What more can I say? Now, if anybody would like to suggest a track for me to react to, then please do so. By all means, you can drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or you can even message me through my Patreon, where you can also help to support this channel, which would, of course, be a massive help to me. It would very much help this channel. So, there's that option there. There's an option in Patreon where you can get your suggestion jumped to the front of the queue if you should so desire it. There's a limit on how frequently you can do that, but that's just to be fair to anybody who suggests tracks through more regular means. And do know, if you do suggest a track through more regular means, such as Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram comments, it could take me a while to get around to your suggestion, because I do get suggested so many new tracks every single day that my list grows faster than I can record the videos. But I do write down every suggestion I get, so it should get done eventually. It just might take me a while to get to it. Also, MetalHead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose goal is to put an end to hate crimes. And one of the main facets of that is hate crimes against people of the alternative culture. And it's something that's been going on for years, something that goes very unrecognised. It's something that I believe in very, very strongly. Because, every day all around the world, people from the alternative community are getting violently and aggressively attacked just purely for the fact that they listen to alternative music or wear alternative fashion. Now, we're not just talking about, insults being shouted at them or, getting shoulder barged as they walk down the street. We're talking about real violent crimes where people are getting hospitalised, sometimes with broken limbs and sometimes with even more life-threatening injuries. And this sort of it all goes unreported. Every day we hear about all these other hate crimes like sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, religious hatred, ableism, what have you. We hear about these on a daily basis. From the most violent of these crimes where someone is murdered because of the colour of their skin, because of their sexual identity, or because of their religious beliefs, down to the most petty and pathetic of these crimes where some entitled white woman is calling the police because a family of colour are having a picnic in a public space. We hear every facet of all of these crimes on a daily basis in every media platform. But as soon as it comes to someone from the alternative community getting violently and brutally attacked, nothing is said. The last time anything was said about this was 14 years ago when Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend Rob Melby were violently and brutally attacked by a group of about 5 or 6 people. And they were violently kicked, punched, beaten, knocked to the ground and had their heads stamped on. And they were beaten so violently that they both ended up in comas. Now, Rob Melby, he did thankfully survive. He was in a coma for about a week and a half, maybe a little bit longer, I can't remember exactly. But he did thankfully survive. Sophie Lancaster, on the other hand, was in a coma for 13 days before she succumbed to her injuries and she died. This young woman was 20 years old and was beaten to death simply because this group of people didn't like the fact that her and her boyfriend listened to alternative music and wore alternative clothing. Now, when this happened, this was all over the news, as, rightfully it should have been. But as all things do, other news stories came in and this sort of faded into the distance. But in the 14 years since that's happened, we have not heard a single similar thing since. Did that sound my head? Anyway, we've not heard anything similar since. But I know for a fact there have been several hundred, if not several thousand, similar incidents to that in that 14-year space. But we've heard nothing. A couple of years ago in Scotland, a young woman was throwing a charity gig, and at some point during the evening she had to go back to her home, which was a 5-minute walk away from the venue. In the time between leaving the venue and getting to her home, she was attacked again by a group of people. She was attacked twice within the space of time between leaving the venue and getting to her home. Twice she was attacked by this group of, again, about 5 or 6 people, and beaten, kicked, punched, knocked to the ground, and brutally and violently beaten. Now, thankfully, the attack was stopped by a passing taxi driver, who, by the way, didn't actually stop to see if she was okay. He just scared off the group of cowards and went upon his merry way. She didn't get any help until she got back to the venue. But this wasn't in the news. Nothing was said in the media at all. You know, I live walking distance from Scotland, and I didn't hear a goddamn thing about this. The only reason I know about it is because a friend told me about it, and the only reason he knows about it is because the victim in question was a friend of his. But this wasn't in the news. Why the hell not? If this attack had been motivated because of homophobia, if it had been motivated because of racism, if it had been motivated for religious reasons, whatever, you know, this would have been all over the news. You know, they would have been covering this all over the place, saying, you know, a vicious, malicious hate crime where someone has been beaten because they have a different opinion. This would have been all over the news. But no. This crime was motivated because these people didn't like the fact that she was a member of the alternative culture, and nothing got said. Now, you can guarantee, thankfully it didn't, if she had died as a result of this attack, then this would have been all over the news. This would have been bloody everywhere if she had died. And that's disgusting. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to lose their life before something gets said. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to lose their life before something gets done. You know, almost on a daily basis, we hear half a dozen stories about, like, these entitled racists who are reporting people of colour for the stupidest, pettiest, most pathetic reasons ever. You know, they're phoning the police because they're walking their dog down a street that they live in, or they're calling the police because a family of colour are having a picnic in a public space, or, you know, they're calling the police because they don't think a person from Asia or, you know, India or wherever should be living on the same estate as them. You know, we hear these things every single day. And yes, they're very, very bad things. It's an awful thing to happen. But how is hearing dozens of those on a daily basis more important than hearing about a young woman on her own getting violently, brutally assaulted by a group of people? How is this not getting spoken about? It's unbelievable. Something needs to happen. Something needs to change, because the longer we keep ignoring it, the more likely it is that what happened to Sophie Lancaster is going to happen again. And we can't allow that. We can't allow someone else to lose their life over something as ridiculous as their taste in music. You know, just because you listen to heavy metal music doesn't mean you're not entitled to the same protection under law. You know, just because you listen to alternative music doesn't make you any less worthy of justice. Something needs to be done. Something needs to change. Because this sort of thing has been going on for decades. And if we carry on ignoring it, it's only a matter of time before somebody else gets killed over their taste in music. And this is where the Sophie Lancaster Foundation comes in. They want to raise more awareness of the fact that this sort of thing is happening, that it is a very, very real problem. You know, they don't want to see another family go through what they went through when they had to watch their daughter slowly die over the course of 2 weeks. They don't want to see another person get victimised over something so simple as their taste in music. It makes no sense, but it's been happening for years and has gone ignored. And that needs to change. So if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there's a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their overall goal is, because they can explain it a hell of a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any way, obviously don't feel obligated to do so, but if you can help them out in any small way, whether it's a small donation through their website or something as simple as one of these Sophie wristbands, and maybe even that one, they've got a whole bunch of other really cool stuff over there on their web store. The smallest amount can make the biggest difference. And the sooner we bring more attention to this, the sooner we get more people talking about this, the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But I'm going to leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.